Welcome to Morfanime. I'm your fan of more anime, and today we will be discussing, I will be taking a deep dive, I will be reviewing 25 more chapters of the Bleach manga. This is my first time reading the Bleach manga, so I figured I would document my experiences going through this. Obviously, if you can see this room, I've been through a lot of anime in my day, but the Bleach manga had slipped through the cracks, so I figured why not give it a shot? Why not give it an opportunity? So these chapters I will be covering today are chapters 126 through chapter 150. These chapters are, at this point, and I'm being honest here, people, my favorite 25 chapters I've read throughout this entire series so far. I think what I really appreciate about Bleach is it's been a steady incline towards really good arcs. Like, I think every arc has been better than the last arc, which is a good thing. That's exactly what you want. Not one has gone below the arc before it. This one was pretty dope. It had a training arc in it, intertwine in it. It had multiple battles, big battles. The MC, Ichigo, who I do like, was not actually a major character in these 25 chapters. And they were able to maintain an awesome amount of my attention and amount of action and amount of storytelling and character development as well. We got to learn some information about Rukia's past, about how she did kill the firework guy that we met in the Soul Society that I do not remember his name yet. But hopefully if you're a fan of Bleach, you know who I'm talking about. His brother, she killed him and he was part of her squad. He was actually her captain of her squad, or vice captain, I think, maybe. Yeah, I think he was the vice captain, but I guess he was super sweet. And he also looked surprisingly and inconspicuously like the main character. He looked very much like Ichigo, but with black hair. I wonder if that means something. It probably doesn't. I think it was just like trying to show us how much Rukia cared for this person, and one reason why she really cares for Ichigo maybe is because he looks like the captain that she adored and probably loved. She loved this guy. She looked up to this guy. He took her in and didn't treat her like she was different because she was part of an aristocrat type family, a royal family in the Soul Society, and he treated her well. This guy actually had a wife, though, and she was also a Soul Reaper, and she was killed by a very powerful Hollow, and actually probably the strongest Hollow that we've seen in combat, except for the 1,000-foot tall one that Ichigo beat. But this guy, he could be stronger than that. But this thing was like a parasite. So this Ichigo clone dude that looks like Ichigo with black hair went head to head with this Hollow, one-on-one as requested, because he wanted revenge not only for his wife, but he wanted, to fight for his pride as a man, I think. I don't know. But he wanted to, avenge his dead wife and her squad of Soul Reapers. It was kind of weird because the creature said, I do feel bad for what I did. I feel bad for not eating that female Soul Reaper, which is a little on the nose, unless he told him why he was there. But he ended up, doing a thing where he parasited into this Ichigo guy, this guy that looks like Ichigo. And he got inside of him and controlled him and turned him into a monster and was slowly eating him from the inside. And he basically said, there's no way to remove me from this Soul Reaper. This is not like a human possession because we're both spirits. And I'm now within this spirit and I will eat it from the inside. And Rukia had to be the one to put him down because she was really the only one in the moment. But she didn't want to run away as well. Her captain said, "Run! Get out of here!" No sirree Bob. Rukia stayed and ended up killing her vice captain, who she looked up to. And now that is the reason why she actually killed another Soul Reaper. And I was curious, and I assumed that Rukia isn't a bad person. So we know that all this bullshit about her being executed is not something that she deserves. I feel like there's a lot of trumped up charges going on here. There is a mystery going on in the Soul Society. A lot of characters in these 25 chapters, again, 126 through 150, a lot of the Soul Reapers flip sides. They've joined the good guy side. They've joined Ichigo's squad. They joined that bandwagon to save Rukia. It's like they flipped pretty quickly, I'll have you. I really enjoyed these 25 chapters, and if I'm going to nitpick just a little bit, I would say the idea that all of this happened in less than 3 days is pretty insane to me. And by this, let's get into it. Aside from the Rukia flashback, we get a lot of big things going down. Renji escapes from prison. He joins Ichigo and the cat lady in a area where they can train. I guess it's a secret hidden area that Hat and Clogs had created, I guess, or built in the Soul Society. And also Hat and Clogs used to be a Soul Reaper, kind of obvious, but he used to be a Soul Reaper. I want to know more about that guy. I really do like that guy, Ichigo Sensei. I think he's a cool character. He's a cool cat, and I think he's got a lot of mystery around him that I'd like to unravel. But we find out he used to be a Soul Reaper. He's a big good friends with the cat lady. Maybe former relationship there? Maybe? At least they were best friends at one time. She brings him down there. She's training Ichigo. She brings Ichigo's sword, his Zanpakuto's spirit to life. And it's just a person. But not all Zanpakutos have a person spirit within them. Renji shows up at the training area, the secret, unfindable training area. Renji shows up, finds it. Maybe it kind of opens up a hole there, like if Renji could find it probably pretty quickly after getting out of prison, why couldn't, like, the people that are actually looking for Ichigo find it? I'm curious. Please comment down below and let me know. But Renji shows up surprisingly, and he tells Ichigo, "I'm here to train too, and I want to unlock my Benkai." I think that's what they called it. It's like the second release to their Zanpakuto, and it's like a cool, badass maneuver, and it's different. That's this Benkai technique. The second release to the Zanpakuto really reminded me of Hunter x Hunter's abilities, the Nen abilities. I've just recently finished Hunter x Hunter's anime, but I really like the power system, so I'm really interested in this Bankai system, because it seems like it gives everybody a unique ability that nobody else has. We'll see, but it seems like they kind of get to customize their Bankai, or maybe it's something that's chosen for them, or it's just there. But it seems like they have this second release that's really interesting, and unique to that character, that Soul Reaper. And I think that's pretty dope. And it gave me Hunter x Hunter vibes. And I really like that. Bleach is really good. And I do not sense any form of like a Dragon Ball story tribute in this. Kind of, you know how like Naruto has those Dragon Ball vibes. One Piece kind of has those Dragon Ball vibes. But Bleach, and I've mentioned this before, really feels like a Yu Yu Hakusho mixed, almost like a tribute to Yu. Like the guy who made Bleach, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a big fan of Yu Yu Hakusho. I mean, I know they're not too far apart, like maybe 10 years apart from release, maybe less than that. And I wouldn't be surprised though if he was a little inspired, because you can feel that toughness from the main character, Yusuke and Ichigo. They kind of have a similarity. I don't see any Goku in Ichigo, which I appreciate, because I do like Goku. But I like that we're doing something different here. We're not doing the dim-witted main character. Ichigo is a tough and smart kid. From what I believe his test results or whatever were really good. In the first few chapters, they showed his test results from school. We're so far away from high school in this as well now, which is kind of nice, but also feels like we we really set up these characters in high school. Now, I'm not sure if we could ever go back to doing high school hijinks at this point. Like, shit's going down. We're in the middle of like a crazy war within the Soul Society. And like I mentioned, there's a conspiracy going on. People are dying. Man, someone's trying to mess with some shiz. So Renji is going to train with Ichigo, and they're going to do their Benkai training separately, though, but in the same space. It didn't seem like it was necessary to do this scene. They don't even show Renji training. It's all off-screen in the manga, unless I missed a chapter, but they didn't show it in the manga. And they barely showed any of Ichigo's trainings, just in and outs. Ichigo's training consists of him having to pull swords out of the ground, and he's got to find the sword that is his actual sword that has the spirit of his Zanpakuto, which I don't remember its name. Maybe I will eventually. I'm slowly getting the names here. Like, I know Renji, but my favorite character, Kenpachi, really dominates this arc as well. But before I get to him, Ice Kid. There's a little kid with spiky white hair, and he's got the power of ice and water, and he summons an ice dragon. It was pretty dope. He took on Gin, the guy that really looks like a villain and is obviously a villain. And at this point, this Gin guy, I'm hoping that he's secretly not a villain and secretly a really good guy. And he's just coming off as a villain for some reason because he's so obviously a villain that I'm like, he gives me Orochimaru vibes. Really, really, really does. Like, he's creepy and methodic and mean. He does not have any redeeming qualities. Even Rukia mentions, like, when I first met this guy, it made me feel like snakes were like around my body, like he's a monster. He even teases Rukia and says, "I could save you." But I'm kidding, I wouldn't do that. He's a pretty bad guy. I haven't seen him fight yet. He kind of just defended himself against this little ice kid who's also a captain. The ice kid, and then his assistant captain, I think, who's got like a huge rack. I don't know her name, but they took out. I think they captured Gin. It seemed that way, like they beat him. It was very vague. I think I'll get more soon about what's going on with Gin and Ice Kid. There's also this girl that's involved in this who found the dead body, I think in the last 25 chapters or the 25 chapters before that. There was a dead body that was like, who was also a captain, posted up on a wall, like all Christ-like. And I think it was Christ-like. It was at least like this, like hanging from a wall with a blood stain. And they're trying to figure out who killed that guy. And she thinks it's the Ice Kid because the note said so. But he seems like a nice guy. The Ice Kid, he seems confused by the note. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And I feel like we're going to get more about that later. Ichigo continues his training. We get to see him going in and out. And he's determined. Determined to win. I really wish we could have seen him fail a little bit more. He seemed very confident in this training. And like I said, I wish the storytelling was a little more spread out. I'm not sure how long a day is in the Soul Society, and they might have explained that. But if 1 day is all 2 days is all they trained, and he was able to be fully recovered to have a major battle coming up soon, hopefully in the next 25 chapters, because it looks like that's where we left off. It just seems crazy to me. It also adds up later when Renji ends up in a fight with Byakuya, Rukia's brother, and gets his absolute shit wrecked. Maybe I should just get right into that before I get into my main man Kenpachi's battle. Renji does unlock his Benkai before Ichigo, within a day, it seemed like, real quick. He goes, he's fully motivated. It's very quick. I really appreciate some of that in Bleach. It's so easy to read these chapters. They're beautiful. The artwork is gorgeous. There's not a lot of talking. Lots of action. Rarely do you get a big talk fest, maybe in the flashbacks. The author, I can't remember, but the author is very good at telling his story with visuals instead of having to read bubbles after bubbles after bubbles. And I'm a huge One Piece fan, but their pages are full of talk bubbles that you have to get through. It's like running a mile with 10-pound weights on. But Bleach is like, I'm floating. Like, I just took off those weights. I'm floating a mile. Like, it's such an easy read. It's beautiful. But it felt so fast. Like, I blew through these 25 chapters so fast, and so many things happened that it felt unrealistic that it could happen in under 3 days. Renji goes to save Rukia right before the execution, like a few hours before, as she's getting transferred to the execution block. He ends up confronting Byakuya. Byakuya tells him, "You're not going to save Rukia." And he's like, "It's your sister, and I'm going to save her. I've always wanted to beat you anyway, Byakuya." And Byakuya is this absolute badass, and I'm assuming if you're the captain of the 13th Guard, you're the best of the best. I want to see Kenpachi fight Byakuya, because he's got to be one of the best of the best. Renji pulls out his fucking Benkai, and it's this giant skeleton dragon that doesn't have anything to do with his bamboo spirit sword. I thought it was going to be like a giant, not bamboo, baboon. I thought it was going to be like a giant baboon, like the thing that's been he's summoned and had to train with. But this giant bone dragon thing that's like his sword, it stretches and he can control it, ends up actually causing a little bit of damage, I think, to Byakuya. He was able to take him to his knee at least. He was able to show him that he has become stronger, and I love there was like a line where Byakuya and Renji are talking. I really like Renji, but I have a feeling he's going to be that guy in this shonen anime that just shows up and gets really close to doing something awesome, but then loses, and then the MC shows up and beats the guy that Renji lost to. I hope he's not that. I hope Renji doesn't get that Vegeta slot, but he has that vibe, and it's hard for me to get behind him because I feel like he could be the Vegeta of this show, and hopefully, I mean, he'll be lucky if he's the Vegeta of the show, honestly. I could really see Renji becoming the Yamcha. I really could, and it's scary. I don't want him to be the Yamcha, and I love Yamcha. But he got screwed in his own story. He didn't get to be anything special. I hope Renji gets his moment someday, and he does have a moment here. He does show Byakuya that he's stronger than he's ever been, but he wasn't even close to this guy. He was able to cause some discomfort to Byakuya. He was showing him that he's got the Benkai. But Byakuya was like, you're still not ready to use the Benkai. You need multiple years of training with it, which will probably be like 3 more days in this story. But you're not ready yet, is basically what he says. He's like, you don't have full control of it. And then he ends up like doing his thing. So before, he turned his blade into a bunch of like petals, blade petals, some cherry blossom thing. But this time he unlocks his Benkai, and it's like these blade spears, and they all go into Renji. Renji's bleeding out. Renji has his hair everywhere. He's basically dead. And then he gets back up, and he's fighting, and I'm all for it. I'm like, get it, Renji. You can do this. You can do something. Show us that next gear that you got. Renji's like, I can still fight. And he does end up doing something where he almost stabs Byakuya, but Byakuya does end up taking him down. But he leaves him to die. And I was almost like, maybe it'd be best, character-wise, if after watching a lot of shonen, I know that Renji's character from this point on can either go one of two ways. He's either going to become a jobber and keep losing, or he'll get some major character development arc where he'll, get stronger than the MC for a hot minute, which would be pretty cool, or become a rival, a real straight-up rival for the MC, which would be positive. But if he goes that Yamcha route, he might as well just die right here, fighting for what he believes in. And I would be like, yeah, remember that Renji character? I'll remember him for that instead of what he might become. And like I said, I like Yamcha. I just don't like the idea of taking a character that's badass and then turning him into a joke or a jobber. Unless, you know, I don't know, there's reasons for everything. But we'll see what happens with Renji. Renji ends up getting saved by the white mage of the Soul Society. The guy that was helping out Ichigo. The guy that healed Ichigo, I think, twice. I guess this guy is really good at healing, because Renji, who was literally 1% health, about to die, needs to get to the Pokemon Center. He survives bare, and it looks great. Looks great right before the execution's about to happen. Maybe at most 5 hours after he almost died. At most. Maybe less, maybe an hour later. This healer guy must be amazing. These healer Soul Reaper dudes. Because he looked great. And he's like, you need to save Rukia, Renji. And he's like, I will. And he gives him a new headband. Some like fan of Renji's got the healer out of jail or something, and they saved him. It was a whole ordeal. But now let's get to Kenpachi. Like I said, though, before I move to Kenpachi, Renji healing so fast kind of confused me. Like how quickly they can heal somebody. You might as well kill your enemies or put them in or lock them up and seal their energy, because a lot of characters broke out of jail in this arc, so their jails are terrible, and a lot of characters were left to their own accord. They didn't seal their Soul Reaper powers like they could have. They even mentioned that. But I digress. I'm enjoying the story a lot. I don't like the conveniency of being able to heal quickly and all these continuous things. Kenpachi ends up breaking out Chad, Orihime, Yuryu, I believe his name is, the Quincy, and the fireworks guy, who are in jail for most of these 25 chapters. These four have been sent down the Yamcha path I was telling you about. These four have become spectators, but every one of these four, except for Orihime, were at one time either a, you know, really powerful. They're still powerful, except for Yuryu, the Quincy, who gave up his powers. And I even forgot to mention his fight that ended on chapter 125, where it ended where he ripped off that glove and he had a super bow and arrow, and he sacrificed his Quincy powers and he beat that freak, that doctor guy. But the doctor guy says he's going to be okay. Like, he blew them all up. It was really, really short fight. Like, it was done in like 2 panels. I was really shocked. I really thought they were setting up like a multiple chapter battle for Yuryu to destroy this doctor guy. But apparently he's okay somehow because of his body modifications. But the Quincy won, I think. But these four, the Quincy, Orihime, Chad, who I really love Chad, and the fireworks guy, they're kind of not doing anything important right now. They're kind of become spectators. They get saved by Kenpachi. Kenpachi switches sides. Hell yeah. I was telling you last time, I really want to see this guy be a prominent member. I don't want him to be the rival, though. I don't think he needs to be the rival of Ichigo. He needs to be his own guy. He needs to have his own wants. And his wants are to be powerful and to get into major fights. And he gets into a hell of a fight. He breaks them out of jail. They run towards the execution site to save Rukia. Everybody's running to save Rukia at this point. And he also brings like 2 of his crew members, the bald guy that we met, I can't remember his name, and then the pretty looking guy that are from their crew that had like the peacock ability. They end up running into 2 captains. One of them is a blind guy who was pretty cool, and one of them has a mask, and they have their 2 vice captains. The 2 vice captains go take on Kenpachi's little crewmates. They don't show their fights. Makes my life easy. But Kenpachi's fight, Kenpachi's fight was amazing. Kenpachi took on both these captains at the same time. Still doesn't have his Zanpakuto unlocked. I'm assuming maybe in the next 25 chapters he'll show his awakened, Zanpakuto. I hope not. I love Kenpachi that he's willing to fight with a rusty sword and the bells in his hair and the patch, which he has not removed, and he put back on, since he fought Ichigo. And he healed really fast as well, but I'm just going to look past that. Maybe these days in Soul Society are like a week, and I'm just missing that fact. But Kenpachi goes head-to-head with the blind guy who pulls out his Benkai, which makes all the opponent's five senses go away except for feel. So he can still feel things, but he can't see, he can't hear, he can't smell, and Kenpachi's screwed. But Kenpachi has a smile. He's having a great time. He just wants to have a good fight. He just wants blood. But he's a good guy. Kenny's a good guy. He is a fighter. He gives me those Rock Lee vibes, but he also is his own character. Like, he wants to be the best, so he wears weights, essentially, to make himself weaker, because his power's just that great, and I love that. He's a hard-working man. This dude goes head-to-head. He ends up beating this blind guy in his own environment in this Benkai situation. He beats him by letting him stab him. That's how he found him. He's like, oh, I know where you are now. Beats him, gets his senses back, and is done. He's like, I'm not going to fight someone who's half dead. And which is kind of honorable kind of code. He doesn't go ahead and just kill people. He kills people who've earned that death. And eventually the masked guy jumps in and says, hey, blind guy, who I don't know their names, sorry, you have done enough. You're hurt. Allow me to fight him one-on-one. And it was funny because Kenpachi's like, y'all better fight me together or y'all ain't gonna give me a challenge, which I thought was pretty cool and pretty badass. I really hope Kenpachi doesn't ever use his Zanpakuto, because I love the fact, like I mentioned, that he's just willing to fight with all the restrictions, and then when he has to, he just has enough spiritual power. He even admits he's terrible at certain skills like detecting spirit energy. But he's still that strong. He's that good. Even his members of his squad, a few of his squad members, the loyalist ones, were willing, his vice captain, the little girl that hangs on his shoulder, those two guys, the bald guy and the pretty guy, they were willing to commit mutiny on the Soul Society, something that I assume hasn't been done in a long time. And they're willing to fight because Kenpachi, not because he wants to save Rukia technically, but he wants to start a revolt because he wants to get into good fights. And they're willing to stand by this dude's side because they respect him that much. And so do I. I respect Kenpachi. Or Kenny. Kenny goes head to head with this wolf, with a masked guy whose mask comes off, and somehow he's like a fox or a dog man. Comment down below, let me know what he is. They stand off. We show the Wolfman's Bankai. That's kind of where we left off there. Rukia gets pulled up to the execution stand, and the giant halberd thing is about to basically cut her head off, but then it becomes flames and turns into a flaming bird thing, and we find out that this is its true form. So this thing is like a Zanpakuto on roids, this halberd spear, and it's for killing Soul Reapers, apparently. And it turns out there's a conspiracy that people think the reason that Rukia is going to be executed for these trumped up charges is because the person who did this, who's making this happen, wants to steal this halberd that can kill, that's like 10 times stronger than any of the strongest Soul Reaper, apparently. Which, how do you measure that? Like, how strong is it? But apparently it can destroy any Zanpakuto. It's a super Zanpakuto. Don't know where it came from. They want to steal it. That's the whole myth. Maybe Gin wants it. The thing turns into a phoenix, and it's about to impale, it looks like, and erase Rukia from existence, who's accepted her death. But right before it hits, somehow, Ichigo shows up and blocks it. Or at least it just stops. Maybe it sees Ichigo and says, wait, you're not the guy I'm executing. If you could please move out of the way, sir. I'm trying to execute this lady who's on the chopping block. It would be shocking if Ichigo did block it. I am hoping he brought the cat lady because she seems pretty helpful in a fight. Maybe bring her along. And he's got a crew of soldiers coming that'll probably help out a lot. And there's a lot of really strong captains that are really questioning the Soul Society's methods. And Renji has somehow been healed within a few hours of almost dying, and he's ready to fight. Like literally chapters before, Rukia was talking about how Renji's life force is gone, and then she's like, wait, it's still there, and then she's like, oh my god, he's gonna die, and then maybe a chapter later it's like, oh, Renji's healed now. That bugged me. But maybe down below you'll let me know in the comments how long a day is in the Soul Society, or how great of a healer these healers are. I'm not against the idea of a white mage, but if that's how we're playing this game, then maybe if you're gonna beat someone up to near death, you finish the job before a white mage can heal them at the very perfect moment. I'm really enjoying this adventure through Bleach. I actually took a break because I was in the middle of reading the Dressrosa arc in One Piece, and it took a long time to do that because it was very long. And it actually was really nice because when I got into these 25 chapters of Bleach, which was kind of like a dessert, a nice, easy, creamy, yummy, delicious, beautiful dessert. I was thinking about how to compare One Piece and Bleach. I was telling you One Piece is thick and dense with world building and character development, and Bleach is much looser, less ingredients, but very good. It's like a Sprite. I was thinking about soda. 23 ingredients in a Dr. Pepper, right? Amazing Dr. Pepper. 23 ingredients, I believe. Can't name them all. It's hard to even pinpoint what they are, but it's amazing and they blend it perfectly. Bleach is like a Sprite. It's got 2 flavors, lemon and lime, but damn is it crisp, and damn is it smooth, and damn is it good. And it's just as refreshing as a Dr. Pepper. It doesn't have 23 different flavors going on all at once that you have to keep track of, which is also really, really fun and intriguing, but damn is a delicious, crisp 7-Up or Sprite, lemon lime, 2 flavors, perfectly blended. That's what Bleach is, and it's really good. And I'm starting to really get into it, and I think that as it goes on, we'll throw a couple more flavors in there. Maybe we'll do a Mountain Dew explosion with 4 flavors, and I could see Bleach expanding, and especially if we develop a character like Kenpachi, who's kind of like the Piccolo of this show, who I absolutely adore. This is Morfanime. What did you think of this review? What did you think of my soda reference there? Do you like One Piece? Do you like Bleach? Please comment down below. Please let me know who's your favorite character. Is Kenpachi your favorite character too? Because I understand why. There's a lot of really good characters. I love the MC. He actually didn't get a lot of time to shine in this 25 chapters, but that's nice to let that character chill for a minute and train with King Kai off screen, and then come back stronger than ever with the Kaioken or some crazy new sword. I'll talk to you later.